Well, Sal, you're a fascinating man. We've got these films, the movies, the book, but I've been watching your videos and I just want to touch on one of them, the Slow to Anger, the Sanhedrin 111. And because you're also very serious, I guess, wise religious thinker and teacher, I would say. But can we talk about a little bit of that? Because I've always thought and reflected on that my whole life. Because Moses, he was, I guess we could say he was a little maybe quote unquote frustrated, maybe slightly complaining to God about the schedule of things, if you, as you had said. And during that narrative, if that's what a word we can use, God had let him know that you can't see me, you can't look at me, because if a human looks at me or tries to, he won't be able to remain alive. And and so I think about that God's holiness and transcendence, that just us as mere human beings, we couldn't handle the full glory of God's presence. Now, before we move on to the attributes of slow to anger and compassion, other things, just can you touch on that just in terms of what you were saying in that video and just your thoughts right now, why humans cannot see God in that context?
Um, there's so much to say about this. This cuts right to the heart of Jewish mysticism and of all mysticism, and the biggest secret in the universe. Right, this is what it's all about. That we live inside God, and yet we can't see God. And we talked already about one reason for that is that would remove our free will because we'd be overwhelmed by the presence of God. But it's also that we often use the language, you have a soul, I have a soul. Well, that's false. You don't have a soul. I don't have a soul. You are a soul. I am a soul. We have bodies. The body is temporary. The body is the vessel that we ride around in this lifetime. And then eventually the body expires and we return to the world of souls. The soul is some kind of a spark of God, like a piece of God. It's much more that material, that substance that the greater world, the world beyond the physical world, is made of. And so one of the reasons that we say, and it says it in the Bible in several places, that a person can't see God and live, is because the soul yearns to return to its source. Right? God is our source. And the soul yearns to return to that source because it's like a downgrade to be here. On the other hand, it's a massive upgrade.
And Sal, can I just interrupt for a second? And sometimes when I read Jewish writing, or even in some WhatsApp groups, or writing back and forth, because I have a lot of Jewish friends, us Christians, we can write out God, G-O-D, but with the Jewish people, they put G-D. It's out of respect to his greatness, because not only can we not see him, but we shouldn't even verbalize or spell out his name because he's too great, right?
Exactly. There would be an arrogance to trying to, reduce God to some name that we could utter. And so really among Orthodox Jews, when we talk about God, we say Hashem. And Hashem literally means the name. So when we're talking about God, we say the name, and that's how we refer to God. It's the most respectful way that we can talk about God. And we have to always acknowledge with great humility that anything we say and any conjecture that we make about the mystical reality of the world, is through our human instrument and our limited knowledge. And so I don't speak in absolutes. This is basically the consensus view that I'm sharing with you of Jewish tradition. But we immediately acknowledge that there's more to it than we could possibly imagine. This is the way we understand it.
Of course. And we only have 5 minutes, whereas this should take maybe 5 months to talk. So I'm sorry that I'm throwing such serious subjects to you and just expecting a couple minutes. But go ahead.
No, I mean, yeah. Just to sum that part up, you asked me about Moses, and Moses, like all of us, when things weren't going the way he expected, was frustrated. God said, go tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Moses went to Pharaoh and said, let my people go. And Pharaoh not only said no, but he made the slavery twice as hard. The people suffered much more than they'd already been suffering because Moses came and made that request. Now, God had a plan. That was one of the steps in the process that would lead to the exodus from Egypt and eventually the greatest moment in human history when the entire Jewish people, 2 million strong, were gathered around Mount Sinai, and God did reveal God's self and speak so that 2 million people heard God's voice and gave, the 10 Commandments into the world at that time. And so much of our lives are that way. We're going through incredible frustration. We're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to do good. Things only get worse. And we panic. It was like, maybe God doesn't have a plan for me. Maybe I'm blowing it. Maybe God abandoned me. But God is telling Moses and he's telling us, take it easy. There is a plan. There is a purpose. If you suffer terribly in this world, there's a purpose for that. We can't tell each other what that purpose is, what God's plan is. And in the middle of someone suffering, you don't offer them, mystical insights. You just sit with them and be with them and listen to them. But in our own darkest hours, this is good to remember.